Okay. All right, so I just opened up the room and it's going to allow the attendees to flow in over the next few seconds. So I'll give it a couple seconds. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and set us to go live on Facebook. We are recording already, so no more doing what we were doing earlier, Boris. Okay, we're going to go ahead and kick it off. Thank you guys so much for being with us. This is day one of delivery week on a Tuesday. Yeah, finally, I know we have been working on this together collectively for a really long time, it feels like. And so we're really excited to bring you guys a really great lineup this week of some amazing experts who are going to talk to us about all things delivery and how it affects restaurateurs. This first session that we're doing today is really restaurant and delivery basics. We're going to go over exactly what you need to get started with delivery. Many of you are already doing delivery, and so this will be a bit of a refresher for you, but there's going to be some tips and tricks along the way as well. And we don't often get a chance to have all three different companies with us together. So I'm really excited to have Ubereats and Favor and Doordash in one place. Earlier, we were talking a little bit between Boris and Greg and saying this is not that unusual, really. Like we would have joined each other at the bar later and commiserated, maybe gotten upset at some point. That would have been entertaining as well, but I doubt it. So I'm really, really happy to have everyone with us here today. My name is Anna Tausen. I'm the Chief Revenue and Innovation Officer here for the Texas Restaurant Association. I'm based out in Austin, and most of what I work on is related to advocating for restaurants to companies. So you know that we're an advocacy organization already, but we also do a lot of advocacy work to companies on behalf of restaurants. And so I've been speaking with this wonderful group of people for a while now about what restaurants are really looking for in their third-party delivery partners. And we have a lot of really good stuff to share with you guys this week. I don't want to take up too much time with that part, though. I'm going to go ahead and allow everyone else to introduce themselves. Natalie, why don't you go first?
Sure. Thanks, Anna. Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie Thomas, and I am a regional sales manager for Favor Delivery. We are based out of Austin, Texas. I myself sit in Houston and cover the Southeast Texas region. Been with Favor since 2015, started as a sales executive, and now manage a sales team of great account executives who are charged with monetizing restaurant partnerships across the state of Texas.
Wonderful. Boris?
Sure, thanks. And again, thank you again for setting us up, and to all the TRA members who are joining us. As Anna mentioned, like we don't get this group together that often, so a big thank you to everybody. For myself, I help oversee the Houston and Texas markets. I'm one of our territory managers for Ubereats. Yesterday was actually my 5th year at Uber, so quite excited to be here. Consider myself quite lucky to have seen this industry, not again just my time at Uber, but the industry as a whole, and more importantly, more excited to see where we take it in the next 5 years as well. So ready to chat some more about this. Thanks,
Boris. Greg?
Absolutely. We'll wrap it up. Thank you for having me today. Very excited to talk to everyone. And of course, we all wish that we could, meet each other at the bar, like Anna was saying afterwards, but hey, this will have to do in the meantime. But so my name is Greg Johnson. I am a regional sales manager for Doordash, covering the greater Texas region. So it includes Texas and a couple surrounding states, but emphasize really on the state of Texas. Kind of similar to Natalie, came here as an account executive. Boots on the ground, visiting restaurant to restaurant, getting and finding the best solution possible to set them up for success in terms of an off-premise standpoint. And now I'm seeing over a team doing just that as well. So excited to see in the direction that everything's going, kind of like Boris alluded to, and ready to get on a granular level with everyone.
Perfect. Thank you, Greg. I really appreciate it. And big thanks also to Doordash. They actually donated $500,000 to our Texas Restaurant Relief Fund in order to supply grants to restaurants, independent restaurants around the state of Texas. So Greg, thank you so much for the generosity. I know it came straight from your pocket, so really appreciate you.
Yeah.
making that sacrifice for us. I appreciate it. Great. Okay, so we have a lot of things to share, so we're going to jump right into it. I wanted to talk a little bit about their favorite use case first for how a restaurant is using your platform. I know there's really great ones across the state. Favor specifically has done some amazing stuff in some really small towns in Texas as well, being a local, Texas-focused brand. So Natalie, why don't I start with you, and you guys just share, what your favorite use case is.
Absolutely. I think, Anna, some of our favorite partnerships are the ones where, I think our big step forward is the fact that we are the boots on the ground, and we can meet with some of these local restaurants face to face, sit down at a table and talk about what their needs are, and really base and tailor a plan directly for them for what those needs are. And some of the best partnerships are the ones where, maybe they do come a little bit skeptical. How am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to make these margins work with my already existing margins that are pretty tight? And we've been able to do that, when we're able to sit down at a table and say, we can promise you 2x growth, 3x growth, and then we deliver on that. That's some of the best partnerships we've ever had. The one that comes top of mind, well, really any partnership that we have where they are, where the restaurant is featuring us and pushing us and marketing us on their end, those are the ones that are really, really successful. The one that comes to mind is P. Terry's. I think you've seen in Austin, where we did a lot of co-branding with them with billboards, table tents in the restaurant, putting the Favor logo and P. Terry's logo on some of their bags. So really just, it's a true partnership, right? Like a restaurant and us coming together and saying, like, how can we grow your brand together? And so we've done that time and time again since 2014, but P. Terry's is one that we're super proud of, and they're a partner till this day for us.
They're really wonderful too. I know we had Patrick Terry on at Terry Marketplace as part of a keynote address last summer, and he was fantastic. He insisted on finishing his milkshake during the panel. So I really appreciated that style. It was really great. Greg, what about you? Tell us a good use case for DoorDash in the restaurant.
Absolutely. Yeah. So piggybacking first off what Natalie said, really there are so many things, like opportunities and meetings that pop into my head from sitting down with all y'all, with all these restaurant owners, and getting to the bottom of what are your needs and how can DoorDash help. So there are plenty that go through my head. Torchy being a large one of them, kind of similar to what Natalie was alluding to with P. Terry's. We've been working hand in hand with them to expand, to improve operations at current partner locations. But I actually want to bring it into a little bit smaller of a restaurant group, if you will, without naming names. We had a 10 location fast casual partner in the greater Texas region. And they joined on actually initially once the outbreak hit, right? And we were all hands on deck. I remember, as you can imagine, all of you restaurants probably looked into delivery when that happened, right? So we were all hands on deck. How can we onboard as many restaurants as possible and get them set up for success? And this group was one of them. And so they hopped on, March of last year. And but what happened was they were skeptical, kind of like to what Natalie was saying. And they hadn't done it before, and so they wanted to first off, save on rate and go with a less aggressive package, if you will, if you want to call it that, because they want to see, they want use case first, right? And as you should. That's actually why we're offering and allowing the first 30 days of a partnership for free for that reason. And what happened was, since they signed up at a lower rate, like base level, they didn't get all the bells and whistles, so to speak, but they got to see that it worked. Once they did see that the operations were in place, customers were placing orders, they were gaining traction. We actually have something, this marketing feature or customer list, if you will, called Dash Pass, if you've ever heard of it. It's kind of like our Amazon Prime, right? So we have customers all around the country, and definitely in Texas, that they only have to, or they pay DoorDash a subscription fee and they get free delivery, right, from all participating restaurants. And so what happened was, when they initially joined, they were not included in Dash Pass. So people had to, they were paying the $2.99 to $4.99 delivery fee for these orders to be delivered. But then as soon as we sat down, understood what they were looking for more volume. So what did we do? We were able to enroll them in this Dash Pass product. and their sales grew 50%. Among the 10 locations, went from roughly 140K in a month up to 220, just instantly in that first month. So that was a great example of sitting down first with someone who was skeptical, and then gaining that trust and being able to develop that relationship over time to a point where we could revisit it and allow to sit down and sort through, how do we take the next step together.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, I was talking with a pizza concept earlier today,
Yeah.
and they were talking a little bit about the subscription model that some delivery partners have, and that more than half of the delivery orders coming for their off-premise sales come from people that are subscribed to DashPass and like other programs like that. I think the loyalty that you see and the habit building that happens from people that are already saying, yes, I'm willing to pay a fee, to subscribe to that. I think that would be, that's really obvious, right? They've made the commitment to get their food delivered. So I think that's very telling. Okay, Boris, let's hear it. Give me a good example from Uber.
Sure. I think just doubling down on what Natalie and Greg said here is, I think none of this is possible also without the partnership, right? And if we don't work together on it and figure out what is the right solution, it's really not going to happen. You know me, I don't listen well, so I'm going to give you two quick case studies. One is a little bit out of reach. We did something with Salt Lake Barbecue back in the day when we did a VIP tour, and we had a helicopter associated with that. Seeing as we can't do that every single time, that's why we're not going to stick too hard with that one, but that's some of the crazy fun stuff that we can do. But wanted to go more on the local aspect of it. Like South by is clearly a very big thing that happens in Austin. So we connected with a local barbecue provider, Style Switch, for example. We said, like, how do we connect it to this event specifically? So they have a signature sandwich, Diablo, if anyone's tried it. If you haven't, please go ahead and try it. And how do we get in front of the attendees there? And how do we market this specific sandwich? So that's exactly what we did. We did on-demand delivery specifically at this event, created a lot of fun buzz. And I think what both Natalie and Greg mentioned, like, if we can involve the social media aspect of it and get some more of those social handles going. So we had like 2,000 mentions on Instagram, 150K email blasts that got connected with it. And overall, it was something that just the restaurateur enjoyed quite a lot. And at the end of the day, what we were more excited about is the people who got the food got to enjoy this and got to get a unique experience with the restaurant. And then this is how we all, I think, on this call want to provide a long-term service, right? Create a fun example of a marketing aspect, and then long-term create a healthy and sustainable process.
I wish that some of us had access to a helicopter for us so that we could say, like, oh yeah, we helicoptered into this local town. That's why, like, actually did end up doing a Uber helicopter ride one time. It was in Vegas. It was a whole thing. That's just typically what happens. So I wanted to share some statistics with you guys and those of you that are watching the session as well. Thank you so much for voting right now. We're taking a quick poll to see who is working with third-party delivery companies and which services they're using. So as soon as I see most people have voted, I'll end that poll and share that back with the audience. But in the meantime, I did want to talk a little bit high level about what we're seeing in the delivery space. I mean, there's some great statistics out there provided by a bunch of different people, including the National Restaurant Association, on why is delivery here to stay and what the impact of delivery is really. I think that the reason why delivery is here to stay is the habit forming part of it, right? I mean, Greg mentioned it already, that people are willing to pay to have access to this service so that they don't have to pay any fees. So that, that's really showing the stickiness of the idea of delivery. But especially because of COVID, I think that the pandemic really launched people's habit forming when it comes to delivery and off-premise buying way more than they would have before the pandemic, although that was already on the rise, right? We saw some of those statistics. So on average, just to share with you guys, people have about 2 delivery apps on their phones and on average use them about 3 times per month. That's average. I think most of us know plenty of heavy users, I guess is what I would call them. So that to me seems a little statistically skewed. If you look at typically people are using them a lot more. If you look at some of the higher, the generations that are using them a lot more. Also keep in mind that 78% of off-premises orders are placed directly with the restaurant, while 22% are placed through third-party platforms. I think that number is a little more level at this point, but before the pandemic especially, we saw a lot more orders coming directly to the restaurant, which I think is really fascinating for a lot of restaurateurs, because a lot of them are still doing their own online ordering. Some of them still do their own delivery. Some of them do their own online ordering, but then use the fleet services provided by, Doordash and Uber and Favor and stuff to deliver on those items. So it's important to remember where those orders are coming from. In 2020, the greatest year we've had together, more than 45 million Americans used a food delivery app, which is a 25% increase over the previous year. That's an enormous jump. But if you think of the people that weren't going out to eat during that time because their restaurants were closed, their dining rooms were closed, that actually makes a lot of sense. I'm surprised it's not more than that, really. The most common complaint from customers is that food is not hot enough or fresh enough when it arrives. And I know we will talk about packaging later this week. That is definitely something that we want people to focus on whenever possible. The integrity of the food stays intact. That's really important. And I mentioned that in 2020, more than 45 million Americans used a food delivery app. That's obviously up from the previous year, 25% from the previous year. And that's really why delivery isn't going anywhere. And that's one of the reasons why at the Texas Restaurant Association, we wanted to partner with these three companies, because we know it's not going anywhere. And we'd rather have them close to us to understand their business model and what they're going through and what their changes are, so that we can give that back to restaurant members, as opposed to pretending that they're not around and just shutting them out of the conversation. That's not the way to handle it. And these guys have a lot of insights that they want to share, and they want you to be successful too. So that's why we invited them to be part of this. So I'm going to go ahead and share the results with you guys on who is working with third-party delivery. And I did see a note from Sharon Watkins. Sharon, I know I didn't have an option for working with none. You're right. I should have added that, and I will do that for the next one, Sharon. I noted. If you have comments, by the way, throughout the webinar, please feel free to add those to the chat window, or if you have questions, use the Q&A window. I'll make sure that those get answered, whenever we're going through the webinar. So thank you for that. Okay, so let's start a little bit with the basics. How does delivery work on your platform? How do orders get placed? How does a restaurant receive the order? I imagine this is very similar for a lot of you. So Greg, why don't you kick us off with a little bit of these are the nuts and bolts of how it works for a traditional restaurant that is partnered with you.
Absolutely. And yeah, good separation there from the partner to the non-partner, because there's obviously a difference there. But in terms of a partner order, right? It's going to be similar, probably just in an operation standpoint, probably more similar to of the panelists that are on here in Ubereats than a Favor. But they'll dive into their own processes. But in terms of DoorDash, so first things first, customer is hungry, right? They don't know what they want to eat. They're going to open up their app. In this scenario, DoorDash is their go-to app. So they open us up, they scroll, they take a look. They find John's Pizza, and they decide to place an order with John's Pizza. As soon as the customer places the order is immediately sent to them via a Samsung tablet. So many of you who are using Uber, Waiter, DoorDash as well, obviously, you've already experienced this, right? On the tablet, you're able to pause your store in real time in case your kitchen capacity isn't where you want it to be. You're able to change prep times in the middle of orders. You're also able to confirm or deny an order that comes through. And on that tablet, you're provided with all types of data, right? You're able to see where the food's being delivered to, what the customer's name is, where the driver is at all times before and after the food is picked up. But once an order comes in on that tablet, as long as the restaurant wants to confirm that, they would press confirm and then assign a prep time to that order. That obviously lets our team know, and our fleet that's on the road know, okay, which exact driver are we going to assign to this order? Because we know, and we've dealt with it, especially with the weather recently as well, right? There are so many factors that have to get brought up and worked into this equation, for lack of a better term, to find that exact right driver. Time of day, the level of traffic, if it's raining, is there a sports game in town, right? Like I live in Austin, is UT playing? That's going to be, that'll involve some traffic things that we got to work around. As soon as the prep time is assigned, we assign a dasher, and the dasher travels to said restaurant while restaurant is making the food and ensures for order accuracy. The dasher parks, enters the restaurant, and if the order is ready, they pick it up, go on their way. If it is not, then they will wait for the food until it is. And then once the dasher has that food, they leave the restaurant and drives to the customer.
Seems pretty simple, right? No big deal. You guys should all be really profitable now. So.
Yeah, right.
Okay, and you know what? Since we're talking to you, Greg, would you mind if you can explain a little bit about the fleet service and how that works? It's Louis Rainey asking.
Yeah, absolutely. So, to clarify, I can read the question. Fleet service. Okay, so I believe you're talking about what we like to call Doordash Drive.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Got it. So that is a scenario where you are not on the Doordash marketplace, so to speak. You're not on the app and not able to gain those types of customers. But what you are able to do is essentially outsource a delivery placed directly through you, the restaurant, and outsource that delivery to a Doordash driver to then be delivered. There are a couple different ways that operationally speaking, that we can make this happen. One of which is in the simple version is via a form, right? You get an order, you go into your merchant portal, you fill out a form that basically says, I have this order, it's this expensive, or it costs this much money, and it needs to go to this place at this time. Once that happens, we call a dasher in, and then it's similar to the marketplace process that I just explained. The other, if it's not a form, right, and it takes a little bit of time to fill out, we have integrations as well, right? And we actually have more integrations on the drive side than we do on the marketplace side currently. But some like Toast, Square, NCR, stuff like that, where we're able to integrate into your POS, and then that way you can assign a dasher through your POS directly instead of going through a form or going through your merchant portal. Definitely something to link up with your POS provider on that, just to ensure that we are aligned, because prices also vary depending on which POS it is set by them.
Got it. Thank you, Greg. That's really wonderful. Yeah. Natalie, what about you? Favor is similar, slightly different. Why don't you walk through the process for us?
Yeah, totally. We are a little bit different in that we have kind of humanized the operations. Now, I will say we've made a lot of headway and are still making more headway on the integration side, direct integration with Olo, as well as looking into different POS providers to do direct integration there. But, Favor really started with that, again, that boots on the ground human side of our operations. And our core product is our runner. That's what we call our drivers, is our Favor runners. And so similar to what Greg said, the Favor consumer is scrolling, they know they want delivery. They know they're not going out to dinner. They may not know what they want. So they're scrolling, they figure out what they want. John's Pizza, in this case, like you said, they click order, they get exactly what they want. And then our algorithm searches the closest runner to that restaurant to really cut down on delivery time. We're just a company that's absolutely obsessed with food quality and customer service. And so we have really put a lot of things in place to make sure that that delivery time is really, really quick. So gets assigned to that runner. That runner, depending on where they are when they receive that order, if they're close enough to John's Pizza, they may just walk right in and order in person. If they're a little bit further away, they will call in that order directly from exactly what that customer ordered and then head over there. We give all of our runners prepaid debit cards, so they pay you right there on the spot. So that's a thing that I think our partners really love about us, is you get paid right then and there. You don't have to wait to get paid out. You can balance your cash register at the end of the night and you're paid right then. And then throughout the whole process, the runner is texting the customer if something is out at the restaurant. Hey, do you want to add a drink? Hey, they're out of beans, but do you want coleslaw instead? Really acting as that liaison to make make sure that that order is exactly what that customer wants. And so then they're on their way to deliver it to the customer. So a little bit different than the tablet-based partners. Again, we are really getting there with integration. That's really where everything is going. But right now we're real proud of what we've been able to do with humanizing our operations.
That's perfect, Natalie. Thank you for putting that so succinctly. I know we've had some restaurant operators actually who have tried working for all three of you as signing up as runners and whatever else you call them at Uber, I don't know. But there's a lot of people out there that are very curious about how all these work. And I know we're getting some great questions in. I promise, keep them coming. We're going to address as many questions as we can. I want to kick it over to Boris to talk a little bit about the Ubereats model and how they do things over there.
Sure, thanks so much. I'll be quite simplistic on here. I'm sure we have some more fun questions coming up besides the logistics aspect of it. So quite similar, again, like starts with a hungry eater. They look what they're feeling, whether it's Joe's Pizza, Anna's Boba Shop, whatever the case may be. And from there, obviously place the order. We are not sponsored by Samsung, so we go ahead and have a different tablet here, but same process as Greg mentioned to give you the tablet. Where I think we want to really double down and focus on is speed. Anna called out, like, no one really enjoys soggy French fries arriving to their home. So what we really want to double down is our prep time. So we're going to arm the restaurant partner with ensuring that they've got the right prep time. We'll dispatch our driver partners out before the food is actually finalized. This way they are arriving as it's wrapping up. We'll pick it up and deliver to the final customer. And that's where I would really like to double down on the speed of it to ensure no one has a really sad meal. I think at the end of the day, Natalie, Greg, we're all here for the fact that if we don't have a good handoff and a good delivery process, those folks aren't coming back to any one of us as a delivery provider, and they're not going to come back to the restaurant partner. So for us, it's very important to ensure that this is a seamless experience, both the restaurant on side and obviously on the eater side as well. So that's what we really like to double down on. And as soon as the order is picked up by the courier, the eater itself, him or herself, will see it on their phone and they get to track it. Weird little fun game to play, 4 minutes away. When do I go outside? Avoid the hanger levels. But I think, again, giving more transparency to the folks who are ordering the food, where and when their food is going to come.
Yeah, that's really helpful. I actually just posted some statistics down in the chat window for those of you who want to take a look. It's a little bit about sort of the consumer, their comfort level and all the different aspects about delivery. How long are they willing to wait? How much are they willing to pay? There's actually a lot of tolerance, I think, from consumers when they know that they're getting a quality product and they don't have to leave their house for it. So think about that as you consider like what to price your menu items at as well. And I have another poll question coming soon on how you handle your menu pricing. So I know that's one of our third-party fans' favorite questions to ask is if people plan on doing that. So I'm going to launch this poll. This is related to how your food actually gets out there. So just let us know how you do, or how your delivery orders actually get to the consumer in the end. Do you do your own delivery? Are they doing third-party, outsource fleet, that kind of thing? Between the three of you, do you all offer outsourced fleet services? Yeah. Okay, great. And would you guys mind like typing them in the chat window on what those are, what the names of them are? Because I know they're all a little bit different. That would be helpful for them, for our restaurant operators who are on the session to see what they're called. I appreciate that. And then we've got a really good question from Anonymous. So thank you for asking the question. But aside from membership plans, what have you seen work best for special offers from operators? So like percentage off your purchase, free delivery, that kind of thing. I know there's different ways to offer marketing specials within each of your platforms. So besides the membership plans, what really drives consumer delivery within the apps? I'm going to throw that one to Boris first.
Would you mind repeating that? I don't know if it was my Wi-Fi that kind of was cutting in and out.
Yeah, no worries. So it's about what have you seen work best from as far as special offers from operators in the Ubereats app? So beyond just a helicopter or membership plans, is it percentage off the purchase? Is it free delivery? What really gets consumers to click their restaurant in your platform?
Sure. And so sorry to tell you this in the most salesy response. It just really depends on the restaurant partner, right? So for example, we just did something with Tacos Buenos, right? And in this situation, they did out of a $15 order, take 3 off, right? So they know their price points, they know what their average ticket price is. And because of that, they were able to create a custom order. Well, we recently had a partner had 34 locations enter into a loyalty program and say, if you continue to spend more than 10 to 15 repeated trips with us, we will continue to give you offers out. So the way that we like to approach this, and this is something that one of my colleagues, Heath, will go a little bit deeper into tomorrow. I think it's more so, what does the restaurateur want and how are they really looking to partner, right? If it's to push a specific burrito as an example, we can do that. If their main role is to increase their basket size, let's figure out a way how to bundle that, or do buy one, get one free, or spend X and you can get Y off of it. So again, like for us, it's really how we're going to cater it back to the restaurateur and figure out what are your goals and what are some of these things that we really can work together on.
Sure. Okay, that's pretty salesy, but not bad. I think the loyalty side of things is really interesting still. Natalie, what about you? What gets people to click on their restaurant inside the Favor app?
We have found, Anna, that what really drives consumer behavior on the Favor end is, to Boris's point, like everybody loves the discount. So when we found that when we lower that delivery fee, that is going to get more eyes. People love a deal. People love when it's $1 delivery, free delivery, $2 delivery. But even more than that, and what's kind of surprising is we found that positioning in the app is really, really important. And so when you kind of can marry the two, so to be a little bit salesy too, like Boris, some of our top partnerships, we work directly with them to really help drive consumer behavior. And how do we do that? Well, most of the time it's like, what is your positioning in the app? Well, if you're right at the top, plus you have a discount attached to you, chances are consumers are going to be excited about that. We can even attach different things to it, like a comm plan where we send an email to our users, or we do push notifications. Again, these are things that we work directly with restaurants on to, not only help us drive, favors, but help the restaurant drive orders to them as well. So definitely, I would say the discount and the positioning in the app really help.
Got it. And Greg, with you, is it similar position in the app and discounting available, or is there anything else that works on DoorDash?
Yeah, I think all those points are spot on. I think the placement overall is probably pretty similar amongst platforms. In terms of DoorDash specifically, I know when you're sorting through restaurants before any customer clicks on a restaurant, they can only see a few things. There are three things actually. That's pictures, right? Huge, obviously. So pictures along with the delivery fee and how long we anticipate it taking. And we actually grab that data from those prep times that I was talking about before to able to communicate that to the customer. So before they click on anything, those are the three things they can see. And then the only difference with the deals or try free delivery, stuff like that, since we have a pretty strong loyalty program with those Dash Pass users, they already get the free delivery. So what we found, at least DoorDash specifically, is when adding like new marketing initiatives to increase volume, the percent off spend X get Y is having a much better or is bringing us much better results, and those restaurants as well, because most of them, roughly half, already have that free delivery, so they get to save even more on top of it by spend $15, get 20% off, for example.
Yeah, that's really helpful. We have another question coming from Jonathan in the chat, and Natalie, I'm going to start with you on this one too, but it's related to how do you do that sorting, positioning in the app? I'm sure there's a top secret algorithm, but what is the secret?
No, that's great. It's not top secret. It is an algorithm though. And I think every company kind of varies in this, but for us specifically, what I will say is we do have the ability to sort of pin different restaurants to the top during certain promotions that, as long as it's not too far away in terms of mileage, we can pin them to the top. So their positioning is right at the top for call it 5 days or however long the promo period is. But our algorithm does take certain things into account. So I think Jonathan was asking, is it commission? Yes, that is part of it. How much the partner is paying us. Location is huge. We don't want to show our consumers a restaurant that's 8 miles away from them because, again, food quality is going to be a little bit down the drain. Also, in terms of how fast the delivery times are. Those are the ones that are kind of up at the top as well. And we kind of just sort of put it into this algorithm and spit out a score, if you will. And that's how you as a consumer will see them in the app.
That's helpful. Uber, Boris, you want to talk a little bit about your positioning, how it works in the Uber Eats app too? I imagine it's similar.
Sure. Similar. And like you said, like algorithms are kind of the main driver. Luckily, more intelligent people than I are designing this. And it's really kind of custom tailored to the person who's actually ordering the feed. So if all of us were sitting side by side in the same location right now, our view would look a little bit different depending on our order history. So that's what we really like to highlight is the top performing partners you can sort by kind of hot and new, if you will. But as you're coming onto our platform, as Natalie mentioned, we'll pin you to the top. So new to Uber Eats, give you a little bit of more highlight, more love. If we have additional promotions, we'll also include you on that. So it's kind of the banner or billboard. We do have the ability for sponsored listing on top of that as well. But the sort feature would be mainly connected on order history, where you are on geolocation. If you're more than anywhere from like 5.5 miles out, I think that's what Natalie is really like highlighting is we don't want to like force that bad delivery that might take too long. And again, like it's always going to be a custom solution to each person who's ordering the food. And that's how we really like to kind of push forward.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the first steps. I mean, you guys mentioned, you know, you guys have salespeople out there in the field. You guys all participate in TRA Marketplace. But if someone just wanted to like get in touch today and sign up to be a merchant with either one of you, I imagine there's a website address that they can go to. Okay, great. If you want to pop those in the chat, that would be great. I will tell you all that are on this session though, that we have some exciting updates coming for you on Thursday that are benefits for TRA members with each one of these third-party delivery companies. So if you're thinking about signing up, that's great, but maybe hold off for like 2 more days because we have something special to offer you. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to another poll. This one is related to menu pricing. So remember, all of these polls are anonymous. Your name is not attached to any of them. So don't worry about that. I have no idea what people are saying, but I am curious to know if you guys are changing your menu prices on third-party delivery platforms. I know this is kind of a sticky issue for a lot of people, but I hear from people all the time that yes, they're able to change it. They negotiated changing menu prices with third-party companies, that kind of thing. I'm not going to ask you guys a question about it because I know it is kind of a sensitive issue sometimes, unless either one of you wants to talk about menu pricing, adjusting menu pricing on your platforms. Great. I didn't think so. Okay, so it's totally fine. All right, let's take another question from the group. They're asking how they can make sure their customers get fresh food that's hot and not cold and stays intact so that they don't get bad reviews. This is where we can talk a little bit about packaging best practices as well. Greg, why don't you kick this off for us?
Yeah, absolutely. As Boris and Natalie alluded to before, it's, food quality is top of mind. As soon as the quality dips, it looks bad on both of us, right? So definitely top of mind for us. I think the best way to look at it is honestly how Doordash came to be, right? And we started in 2013 doing one thing and one thing only, and that's delivering food. and still to this day, that is at the forefront of our mission and what we're doing. But in terms of like operationally, what we've learned in these 7 years, one of them is delivery radius, right? We do, and it depends on what package, if you will, that you want to sign up at. But that can range anywhere from 4 miles to 8 miles, essentially. And we have a little bit of control of that depending on what you're comfortable with as well. Another, which I'm sure other providers do, is they provide drivers, our dashers, with hot bags, right? And being able to keep the hot food hot, cold food cold, and make sure that we're still delivering a positive experience along with that food. And then really to wrap it up, we like to give you as much control as possible. We understand there's only so much that you can control. What we do allow, if say a negative experience happens, and a dasher does not handle your food properly or how you would want, and maybe you heard a bad review from that customer, you can actually go back and retroactively make sure that dasher is not going to pick up an order again from y'all. Something that gives the restaurant a little bit more control over the quality.
Natalie or Boris, you want to chime in?
I'll take it. Yeah, I would agree with Greg. I think a lot of it is the algorithm and making sure that we're not going to be going to different restaurant, a restaurant that's 8 miles away. So really locking in that radius to make sure the food quality. We have thermal bags as well. Another thing that we really keep an eye on, and this goes back to the insights and data that we provide our merchant partners with, and that is they're going to be able to see the food rating, the runner rating. We keep a close eye on that as well to see what that's looking like. To make sure that if there is anything on the decline, that we can step in and see what we can do to make that in a better place. I will also say that the way that we onboard our runners, we really, we used to pre-COVID bring them in for in-person orientations, and we were one of the only delivery services that continued to do that. And now we're doing them obviously virtually on Zoom, but we really hone in on what the favorite brand is and the fact that, without these restaurants, without the restaurant community, we wouldn't be here. And we truly are an extension of your brand when we're out delivering your food. And we take that extremely seriously. And we're obsessed with food quality and customer service as well. So the way I think that we treat our runners and how they are our core product really helps us lock in, all of those top food quality things that are important to the restaurant as well. And when we do mess up, we own it. This is the service industry. We're going to make mistakes, but it's how we rise to the occasion when we do make those mistakes that I think it really sets favor apart.
Great. Thanks, Natalie. And I know Natalie also posted some information there in the chat. Oh, Natalie, it looked like it just went to panelists. Would you mind changing it so it goes to everybody? But she's got some email addresses there for you to reach out to. So I know one of the things that we've heard from people is they don't know who to reach out to when something's going wrong. These are some definitely some good email addresses to save and hold on to. If you have any issues, they're really easy to get a hold of. Or you can always reach out to me. I'm happy to put you in touch with Natalie or anyone else at the Favorite team or at Ubereats or Doordash. I know they want to hear those issues so that they can correct it and make adjustments for their restaurant partners. So feel free to reach out to any of us where we're happy to get you to the right person. Okay, so we answered that question about how to keep food hot and fresh. I know a lot of you offer hot bags. That's really helpful. James, we're going to go to your question next is on, do any of the platforms offer a commission-free option to their service, such as pickup instead of delivery? I know that DoorDash Marketplace, right, we're doing something special for TRA members where there actually is, it's really low or it's zero. I can't remember what it is exactly, Greg, but I can look it up for TRA members specifically. Do you have any insight on Marketplace that you want to talk about?
I don't want to speak too soon. I know a couple things are being finalized, but the one thing that I know for a fact that I can offer and that we do offer everyone is the first 30 days completely commission free to get your feet wet. In terms of longer than that period, right? It's going to come soon. It sounds like.
It is coming soon. Boris at Ubereats, anything you want to talk to about commission free option, pickup instead of delivery, anything like that?
Sure, yeah. And I think like to the folks who are a little bit nervous, scared, or insert any other word, like get your feet wet, see how it feels. So throughout the summer, we're doing a 0% on the pickup side. And obviously like we can figure out some custom solutions for you all in order for you to feel comfortable. And obviously the restaurant relief package is something that's helping alongside of that to ensure that you feel comfortable throughout the time. So come on board, we're excited for you.
Great. And again, Thursday is the day we're going to announce all the different benefits for TRA members. So be sure to join us again at 1 p.m. on Thursday for that one. I'm sorry to be so elusive, but I promise they're really good announcements and we can't wait to share with you guys. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about alcohol delivery. Everyone's excited about that one. We were able to get that passed as a part of the pandemic. Governor Abbott signed that for us. We have a bill that's been filed actually for alcohol to go. In fact, Emily is testifying tomorrow about it, or not testifying, she's doing a hearing about it so that people can learn more about what we're trying to do. But how are you, each of your companies, handling alcohol to go on your platform? What's required of you to, check IDs, that kind of thing? I'm going to go in reverse order this time. I'm going to go with Boris to kick it off.
Yeah, I think to your point, and we follow TABC, and most important, like we share the liability here, right? Like I think no one here wants to be in an article or ensure that there's a terrible experience, and it doesn't matter what company you partner up on this one. I think it's something that we all take quite seriously. But at the end of the day, we also want to ensure that it's something that helps the people, it gives the eaters what they want as well, and has a fun meal. So for us, what we really focus on is onboarding our driver partners, ensuring that they understand the proper format when alcohol is part of the order. So obviously internal tags that we do for that. Upon arriving, we scan for ID, do the proper check as well. And some of the nice things, without going too deep on it, through our Postmates acquisition, that's some of the things they are doing quite well. And obviously through the Drizzly side that we acquire. So some of the tech that we want to make sure that we're keeping quite a keen eye on, and ensuring that it's a really safe handoff and everyone is happy at the end of the day.
Perfect, perfect. Drizzly has definitely saved the day many times around here. It's really nice to be able to do that. We've also done Favor will get HEB to deliver some alcohol for us at the end of the day. It definitely comes in handy. I think everyone's tolerance probably increased during the pandemic. And so if we can get those drinks to them faster, that's even better. Natalie, you want to weigh in a little bit on alcohol delivery?
Absolutely. We started, before we even started delivering alcohol from restaurants, to your point, we started delivering beer and wine from HEB. So we really got to get our feet wet in that arena, and it was super successful. We really got to, tie up all the loose ends in terms of, like Boris's point, checking for ID, making sure all those tags were in the back end, and making sure that it was all safe, legal, and that runners were trained on how to fulfill these orders. And then we really got into the restaurant alcohol delivery side, which I think has been even better, because as we all kind of test, specifically in the pandemic, people really want to bring that full restaurant experience home. And I think without having the alcohol piece, it just isn't the same. And so I think a lot of restaurants really love it because their average order value continues to go up. Their margins on their alcohol are already in a pretty good spot. So offering that on Favor and on our platform just makes sense. So, it's something that we offer to our existing people who've been with us for a really long time, and they were excited. And it's something we offer to all of our new folks as well. But yes, we work with the TABC and make sure everything is all good and tied up and all the legalities.
Perfect. I'm curious too, I know from some of our beverage partners, they have seen a drop off in people ordering beverages, right? When it comes to delivery. I mean, we just know that that's something that people don't really think about, but because alcohol has become such a part of the conversation when it comes to delivery, are you seeing more beverages being delivered on your apps? Like, have you seen any kind of uptick in that? I know especially our friends over at Coca-Cola would like to know if people are ordering more Coke products. Greg, what do you think? Are you seeing more beverages being delivered now as opposed to a year from ago? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say I definitely say so. Because think about the buyer, right? Think about the customer. And when it was, hey, well, let's go out for drinks, right? It's let's go out for drinks, and now, kind of to your point that you alluded to earlier on, Anna, is that, COVID or the pandemic rather, sped up that process a lot, and sped up a lot of buyer tendencies as well. One of those being, okay, now with our food, let's get margaritas as well. Let's grab some beer too. And so we're definitely noticing a higher influx in alcohol delivery. And I think what it really what at the forefront of that was our relationship with convenience locations. And that's where we've really been able to, I think, let the customer know, hey, Doordash, Ubereats, Favor, this is where you can get alcohol through us. And we're able to push that through larger channels such as your 7-Elevens and CVS and whatnot. To now that same buyer who wants to order from the local restaurant has the same choice, and they already know that.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Okay, I'm going to ask one more poll question while we're here on percentage. What percentage of your off-premises sales come from third-party delivery? And this is kind of all over the place, and I've heard lots of different things. Some people are, they're doing a ton in delivery, with third party, and some they're not doing much at all. So curious to see how this turns out. Okay, so one of my final questions that I have on my list. Those of you that haven't asked a question yet, please do so in the chat or in the Q&A window. I'm watching those actively right now. But Boris, I'm going to go with you. What do you wish people knew about Uber Eats that maybe they don't?
Yeah, I think from our side, and I'll speak a little bit on behalf of Greg and Natalie here. I think it's the industry as a whole. And I guess that's why we're here at the end of the day is we're here to be a trusted partner. I think in the past, this was something like I'm not sure if I want to go with a food delivery brand. We're not sure of the times. So I think at the end of the day, we would love for everyone to know and understand and feel comfortable with why we're here and why we're going to try to provide it. Oh, that's a cute kiddo. So that's good points right there.
Pandemic life. Sorry, guys.
So I think with that case, like we just want to ensure that like we are here and we're going to be custom solution tailored to what your restaurant needs and specifically how you want to continue to grow. So that's just me oversimplifying. So look at us as your partner, not more so of what I've heard in the industry call us as all necessary evils, more so of how do we continue to grow with you and ensure that you get to hand your restaurant over to your grandkids and their grandkids in the future as well.
So you want us to remove the evil part and just keep necessary.
I mean, that's not for me to determine. If you want to say that, if the shoe fits where, great, let's do it.
And then tell me, Boris, I'm curious about, yesterday was International Women's Day, and I see you have this background on there, Choose to Challenge. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, so little plug, I was born in Moldova, if anyone can know where that is, brownie points to you all, but I was raised by my mom, so it was something that we always ensure that we were giving women roses on this holiday, specifically Choose to Challenge and highlight specific women within our company that have performing very well, and not just as an employee, but as a person and what the contribution is. And then something that we shouldn't just be recognizing on a day, but throughout obviously our lives. That's
great. That's great. And honestly, I think it's really good for Uber to do that. So I'm glad you guys are doing that. Natalie, what about you? What's something that you wish people knew about Favor that maybe they don't?
I love that question. I feel like I wish that people knew how dedicated we are to this industry. Kind of like I said before, without the restaurant industry, we would not be here. It is the core and bread and butter of what we do. And when we go out and we meet with these restaurants, it is such a pleasure to look in the eyes of these business owners who have put their blood, sweat, and tears into their restaurant and growing it, and say, not, how do we we want you to still be successful, but how can we be a part of that? Like, how can we continue to help you grow? How can we be, to Boris's point, like a true partner? We're not trying to take anything away from your restaurant. We're just trying to add value. And that's what I love about the fact that Favor is so focused on Texas, and that we do have boots on the ground in small towns like Midland, Texas, to big cities like Houston, where we can go in face to face or Zoom to Zoom and look in their eyes and say, like, how can we help you? Like, where are your pain points? Let's tailor a package that will help you grow and help you sustain. And I just really love all the work that we've been able to do specifically during the pandemic, because this is an industry that's been deeply affected by it. Sorry, lawnmowers. We gave over $2 million to restaurant relief during that time. Like, we deeply care about this industry, and we want it to be successful, so that we can continue to be successful. And how do we do that? Well, we partner up and, we rise together. So that's what I wish they knew, is just how much we care about their restaurants.
Great. All right, Greg, you're the last one. Tell us a little bit about something you wish people knew about DoorDash.
Yeah, I love this question, really do. I would say I wish more people knew about how we came to be, what our mission is as a delivery company, is to deliver good anywhere, anyhow. Now, how we came to be, our CEO, he was an immigrant. Came overseas from China, and both of his parents were working in the restaurant industry. And he, to help support the family, 10, 11 years old, was back in the kitchen helping any way he could. And when he eventually got into Stanford, all that good stuff, you know, he came to a point where he asked himself, how can I help more people like my mom? How can I provide them with this stream of incremental revenue or this stream of new customers any way that I can? And so that's how the idea actually came to be. And Tony's still around. He's not going anywhere, I can assure you that. And that is still the mission to this day.
That's really great. Those are really good stories, y'all. And I really appreciate you sharing that with us. I'm going to go ahead and, oh, I didn't end the poll. Oops. Okay. And now I'm going to share the results of what percentage of your off-premise sales come from third-party delivery. We've got 5 people who we need to get people in touch with you guys for sure to learn a bit more about third-party delivery and how they can maximize their off-premise sales. In fact, that is the topic for tomorrow's webinar. So Delivery Week continues with Wednesday. Tomorrow we're doing Maximize Delivery for Your Restaurant. That is happening at 2:00 p.m. Central Time with a new cast of characters, except for Natalie. Natalie's going to be joining us as well. So she'll be back for that one. And then Thursday, March 11th, we're going to be going the delivery partnerships with TRA. So all of you TRA members, you definitely want to come back for that one. Emily is going to be running that one to talk about all the new benefits that we're rolling out with each of these 3 companies. And then on Friday, we're going to end Friday at 1 p.m. with delivery legislative updates. So you guys know we've been working on a bill all together. Whew, it has been a long haul, but I think we've got something really good to showcase to people. There's some other delivery bills that are out there too. So we want to sort of show people the difference between those and what we're working on with third-party delivery in tandem to make sure that we have the right bill that's going to get past this session. I feel like my internet is unstable now. And so that is telling me that it is probably time to end this one. Boris, Greg, Natalie, I really appreciate you guys making time today to make this work. Oh my God, did I freeze? Or did everyone else freeze?
Oh, you're good. You're good. Anna, can you hear us?
Swear to God. Yes, now I can. Now I can. All right, that figures. We're going to end on that because that was a really good note to end on. So you guys, thank you. Have a good afternoon. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, everyone, for hopping on.
Bye, all.
Thank you all so much. Cheers.